This is a video I've been dreading making for about a week. The crutch and the thumbnail. So I'm a wildlife photographer. I guess if you've been following this channel, you've seen that. I do a lot of work from kayaks. I've taken a lot of precautions to make sure my gear is safe. And I was also born with severe club feet. I've had 10 surgeries to put my feet back together. And my ankles don't move. If you can see my foot, that's as much range of motion as I have in the foot. So a couple of times in my life, probably 20 times since my childhood, I've stepped the wrong way, and since my ankle can't move, my knee twists, gives me a lot of anxiety to talk about. But my ankle can't move, so my knee twists. I've never had it fully dislocate and had to put it back in, but it twists, it really hurts, I fall, and things happen. Usually it's not that bad. Usually within a couple minutes I can walk on it again, sore for a couple days. But a few times it's been worse. I remember the first time I got promoted at my job, right as I was heading into the interview. I had just bought my first Mac Mini and I was all excited walking into this job interview, and I twisted my knee right before I stepped into the office and fell and scratched up my suit and got the job, so that ended up okay. Then at a Christmas party at work, twisted my knee, fell on my shoulder, really messed it up. That was 15 years ago. It still hurts sometimes. Once I was a bank teller in the early days, I went to get someone their money, and as I went to go turn to get their money, I twisted my knee and just fell. So you can imagine if there's a counter and your bank teller just disappears from view. Lots of weird things, and usually they've been okay. Unfortunately, this past weekend I was camping 7 days ago. I was in Algonquin Park with a couple friends. I was out paddling for loons. Didn't have any luck, couldn't find anything, so I came back to shore, and as soon as I was back to shore, these two loons popped up right beside the shore. So I decided to walk over and take a couple of pictures. I was walking 10, 15 feet, very uneven ground at the campsite. Usually I would have a walking stick, but in this case, I wasn't going for a hike. I was literally walking 15 feet away. I was gonna sit down and take some pictures. Stepped the wrong way, twisted my knee, screamed, fell. And apparently during that fall, I shot-putted my camera, and of course it was the Z9 and the Sigma 500 f4, and it went sailing through the air, hit the ground, bounced off the ground, rolled into the water. God bless my friends, they came to my aid. They thought I'd snap my leg in half or something like that. I was in a lot of pain, it really hurt. I was trying to reassure them that no, this isn't, it's not as bad as it sounds, just give me a minute and I'm gonna be okay. And then I heard someone say, "Where's the camera?" And I looked up and I saw it in the water, and they fished it out and dried it out, and that's what this is. So Nikon doesn't do in-person deliveries, so I had to ship it. I insured it in case it got lost, so spent $300 on shipping and insurance to something I could have driven and dropped it off to, which is annoying. Sigma services the lens in the same city where I work, so I dropped that off in person. Yesterday, Nikon got back to me and told me the camera's toast. It's corroded, and they said it is working, so we're going to test it together and see. But they said it basically it's a ticking time bomb. It's not going to last, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Then today, Sigma called me and said the lens is totally waterlogged. It sounds like it's not even working. I'm going to pick it up in person next week and hope for the best. But yeah, I just drove to Montreal 3 months ago to pick up that lens. I got a really good deal on it used. I sold all my other lenses, and now they're both toast. So if you were to buy that stuff retail, that's 15,000 Canadian in gear that's toast. It's not insured. You need a special rider to insure it, which I did not have, which is foolish. But I would hazard a guess most of you watching this as hobbyist photographers also probably don't have insurance. And while it might be covered under your home policy, depends on the cost, as I'm finding out. I'm still crossing my fingers that maybe they'll help me out a little bit. But I've got a $1,000 deductible, so even if they were to cover a little bit, I would probably still be pretty rough out of pocket. So, word to the wise, even if you're not kayak shooting, it's funny, all the time that I kayak shoot, I take so many precautions so this wouldn't happen. And in hindsight, I thought the camera would live. I always kind of thought that if I flipped my boat and I got the camera out of the water within a minute or something, then it might be okay if it was repaired and dried out. That's not the case. I foolishly did turn the Z9 on. I put the batteries back in and tried to boot it back up, but I didn't short circuit it, so luckily that didn't do any worse damage. We dried it out, took everything out, dried it out. 2 days later when we left the park, we were in the interior of the park. I couldn't really get out earlier. So when we left, I went and spent $100 on a bunch of silica, and I had the camera and lens sitting in like industrial gun safe silica in a sealed Tupperware for a couple days to see how that would go. And yeah. Anyways, I'm expecting that the lens won't even turn on at all. When I sent them the camera, it wasn't working at all either. But let's see. My hope, my best case scenario, and I thought, why not film this? It's been a little quiet on YouTube. Luckily, I did get some nice video footage before I tanked the camera on the drive-in. Actually, I had some nice encounters with a moose and some ravens and a family of foxes, so that was cool. But my best case scenario right now is that I can use the camera, hopefully, and you know, I'm gonna have to buy something else. This is what I've been talking about in these videos. There's one of my big packs of silica. You know, normally you get these little tiny packs of silica. So this is like a pound of silica, and I had 3 or 4 of these. You can actually reuse these, so it'd be nice to have them. But this is what I've been talking in my video about costs. You know, if you've been following me, you've seen me switch brands. One of these batteries was in the camera when it went in. I don't know which one. Should have marked it, but yeah, unfortunately, Nikon does not make an affordable camera. So, you know, they graciously offered me a little bit of money to trade this in towards something else, but it's just not, it's not even close enough, you know, towards the price of either a new Z9 or even like a Z8 or something like that. It doesn't even come close to getting it done. I don't have the cash to buy another expensive camera. I've been saving up, selling gear to buy the stuff that I had. So to replace it's just not an option. So I'm going to be switching to Canon. Probably going to buy an R8 and the 800 f11 because, you know, nothing else. I mean, to be fair, that's going to have better autofocus, as I said before. I've shot the R8 side by side with the Z9 and it definitely focuses better. So we'll see. But my hope is if I can keep this thing working for a while, it'd be nice if this thing lives. So let's see. We're going to do this live. Pop a battery in. I've got a memory card in. And let's see what it does. This lens was not in the water. Well, it powers on. The viewfinder doesn't seem to work, but does the viewfinder work at all? It may not. Yeah, the viewfinder is not working at all. I'm just trying to see if it's the modes. Oh, hold on. Okay, viewfinder only. Okay, so the viewfinder is working in viewfinder only, monitor only. Okay, the viewfinder is working. What do we got here? Okay, we're in stills. Can we take a picture? Aperture is working. Shutter is working. ISO is working. Exposure compensation is working. Okay. I mean, this is good. They did tell me it took photos. I mean, for how long is the question. Big spot on the sensor. I guess that's not my biggest concern at this point. Could be on the lens too. Yeah, there's some dust. I'll have to try cleaning the sensor later. I mean, seems to be working okay. Well, that's good, I guess. Does it shoot video? Well, well, it shoots video and it takes pictures. So, if you have any tips in the comments on how to preserve the life of this, I mean that makes me feel a little bit better. You can see here the viewfinder, the LCD. It's not flush from the drop, so that won't fit into the body anymore. And it leaves me in a tricky position. You know, I just sold all my good lenses. This is the cheap Sigma 100 to 400, and it's whatever, it's fine. It does the job. But I sold all my nice lenses to buy a 500 f4, and now Sigma's saying that's totally toast. When I sent it in, I thought it had been all dried out, and I put it on, actually I guess this was before it was really in the silica for days, but I put it on one of my friend's bodies, and it made like a bunch of crazy weird sounds, so I turned it off. Then I dried it out a bunch more since then, so I don't know. I don't know if I threw it on. I think I might have tried it again after that. I don't know. Sigma, they said that the teleconverter is working. It sounded like the lens isn't working. So I'm going to pick the lens up on Wednesday. I'm expecting it's totally toast. Probably, maybe it'll work in manual focus, which I guess I could use it for some video stuff. I don't know when you would even bother using it. But yeah, I'm expecting that thing's probably toast. And I guess the issue I'm stuck with is now I've got this Nikon that it doesn't make any sense to upgrade and buy another nice lens, even if I had the money to do it, because the camera could be toast. So a group of friends were going to Quebec in August to shoot puffins. Well, I can't take this as my only camera, knowing that at any moment the camera is likely to just go kaput, right, because of the corrosion. So I don't understand this stuff. They say that once corrosion starts, even if things are dried off, it's just going to keep going. The guy from Sigma today explained that to fix the lens, he said it's waterlogged. They would have to completely disassemble it, scrub and clean every single piece and part of the lens, and then reassemble it. And I thought, yeah, that's great. How much should that cost? And he said, no, by the time you factor in the labor, the work, the complexity, and replacing the parts that need to be replaced, he said you're talking more money than the lens itself. So I don't know. I don't know where that leaves me. I guess, yeah, I'm probably going to buy the Canon R8 and the 800 f11. I know that works really well. It'll be nice to have a lightweight kit, and I guess this will probably be the end of it with Nikon. If a Z6 III comes out next year and they'll still honor that offer to kind of trade it in for whatever, pity money, and I mean, they offered me maybe a third of what a Z6 II would cost, but I'm not going back to a worse camera functionally. So that doesn't make any sense for me. But yeah, I guess, thankfully this thing turns on and I can at least take some photos with it. So I'm going to use it and enjoy it and hope to preserve it. I don't know that there's much I can do, but it's a big blow. So you know what? Insure your gear. I was really happy with this kit. I felt like I'd kind of found, found like everything that I wanted. The lens was heavy. I was debating. It's funny because literally 60 seconds before I dropped it, I was mentioning to Matt, that I said, I think I might sell this thing. I said, I don't think I have the budget to buy a nice zoom, the Z100 to 400 or something. But this lens, it's just too heavy. It's really a struggle to shoot in the kayak when I have it mounted to the dash. And it's just tricky. So I said, I think I might sell it and just buy a nice zoom and kind of give that up. So it'll be nice to shoot something lighter, but it's a real kick in the pants, I tell you, to have that thing gone, because I'm no stranger to buying and selling gear. I've bought and sold tons and tons of cameras and lenses, but now, the lens is probably worthless and the camera is unsellable. So, I mean, best case scenario, best case, this thing works for another couple years. I guess the issue is that Nikon and Sigma and everyone else, they're saying, look, we can't warranty water damage because once it's in there, it's just going to keep corroding. Now, what does that mean? Does it mean that the circuit board corrodes? I don't know. They sent me some pictures, but I don't know how long I've got with it. So I guess I could buy a used Z100 to 400, and if the camera craps out, I could sell that off if Nikon doesn't have an affordable body. That's something I'm going to consider, but the trouble is I can't wait for this to die. I have to buy another body, and Nikon doesn't make an affordable body that's good. So it's going to have to be Canon. And then, you know, I guess we'll see where we go from there. So thank God Canon exists. You know, thank God they make cheap, good options, because, you know, even scrounging towards the money to get an R8 and an 800 is, you know, that's like pushing the budget as far as I possibly can right now. So, you know, that's something I might even hold off on that for a month and wait till closer to the trip, because I don't have any important shooting planned between now and August. So if I'm out shooting and my camera dies, it's like, well, whatever, I'll just drive home. But definitely I'm not going on a trip with a camera that's a ticking time bomb. So lesson learned. You know, there's no GoFundMe. I'm not asking for donations or money. Yeah, if there's anyone you think would benefit from the channel and some ideas or some gear discussions, and feel free to send them, like and subscribe. And you know, we're going to try to get some content going. You know, the next step is going to be getting some of the good stuff out that I did get on the trip. So hopefully this weekend I'll get some of that edited down. I'm not going to edit this. You know, I was going to set up audio and stuff, and I thought, you know, I got a lot going on in my brain and emotions right now because of this stuff. So this is kind of the raw, uncut version of what happened, why I've been quiet for a week. And yeah, insure your gear. Matt gives really good advice to me, and I mean, we differ in our shooting styles and gear approaches, but he's always said that he does not want to shoot something that he would struggle to replace. And you know, I've always understood that, but not agreed with it. I don't know how I feel today, but he looks really wise. And on that note too, if you guys watched to the end, I don't know if my friends watch this or not, but Mark, Craig, Matt, thank you guys. You know, I'm glad we salvaged the trip. So just a very quick recap of the trip. We went into the backcountry of Algonquin, north end of Opiongo, hoping for moose. Mark had never he'd never seen a moose. I'd never shot them. I'd only seen them before I was into photography. So, you know, we had some mixed ability. You know, Mark usually paddles an inflatable kayak, but we didn't think that was going to be suitable. So he used one of Matt's boats. You know, there were some comfort levels there. He had to get used to that. But in the end, I saw a moose on the drive in. I blew out my knee shortly before. There was a moose not too far behind our campsite, so the three of them were able to paddle out and get some photos. And then there was Craig saw a couple more moose out on Hailstorm Creek. That's where we went to see. And then I think most of us saw moose in the ditch on the highway on the way out. So, you know, I'm glad that we salvaged it. In the moment when I fell, like I said, we thought I'd broken my leg and I would need like an emergency extraction from the backcountry. So in hindsight, I think I did tear my MCL, is what the doctor's telling me. I don't have much mobility anyway. I'm not much of an athlete. I'm not in that much pain. Little pain sometimes, but mostly just stiff. So, you know, using this guy for stability, make sure I don't fall and hurt it more. And we'll see. Hopefully I'll be back up on my feet well enough for the August trip. And I'll have to step carefully and carry cheaper gear, because you never know what could happen. So stay safe, and thanks for watching.